Greetings and welcome to this special interview leading up to our next episode of the GeoWatch video series, where we go deep on the latest development in semiconductor strategy, examining the complex global technology landscape and analyzing the power moves of industry giants. Today, we are honored to welcome Marc Hijink, the esteemed author of Focus, the ASML Way. Marc will also be participating in the next episode of our GeoWatch video series on May 16th. Marc, would you like to say something to our audience and give a self-introduction of yourself?
Yeah, of course. Well, Judy, thanks for having me here. I'm Marc Hijink. I'm a Dutch newspaper reporter, and I've written a book about ASML, and it's my second time in Taipei. I already love it here, so I fell in love with the country of Taiwan on day one.
Great.
Yeah, and for this book, ASML, the ASML Way, I've been embedded in the company for quite a couple of years. And before that, I was writing about the company ASML, well, as a financial reporter, diving into that technology more and more. And then after, a certain period, I think it was during Corona, that I asked them if I could, follow the company on background, just behind the scenes, to see how they were doing with all the troubles in the supply chain, like all the world had to manage these shortages. And it was exactly during the pandemic that the chip shortage hit, and also that the geopolitical tensions, all the attention on the ASML was really on the front page of every newspaper. So for me, it was it's like a perfect fit. I could really delve into the company and also experience how they were dealing with these gigantic pressures from the outside. Mm-hmm. And then after that 1 year, I wrote an article, quite an extensive article for NRC. And then a book publisher tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, isn't there a book in it?" And that's at that time I went back to ASML and I said, "Well, there's this interest from the outside world. I think you have a great story to tell. Let me write it. And also give me the opportunity to gather other sources, like third or even fourth sources, so I can just do the reporter thing and verify if everything is correct. So I can create an objective, panoramic view of the company." And they granted me the opportunity, which I'm still grateful for. And they never interfered in the things I could write or could not write. But I just got the opportunity to travel all around the world and see their certain divisions, and to go into the clean rooms, to go into the boardrooms and meet with their leadership several times. So, and then I experienced that these are great stories to tell.
Mm-hmm. Wow, what a dream job that you got.
Yeah, well, it is a nightmare if you compare it to the deadlines I had to make, but okay, I managed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, are there any unforgettable experiences during this process?
Well, I have a few pictures in my head I could share, and they're also in the book. So, one of these moments, these scenes, is in Oberkochen, which is a very small, an idyllic country village, a mountain village in Germany. And Oberkochen is the headquarters of Zeiss, and Zeiss is the supplier that develops the most important thing of the lithography machine, which is the machine that ASML makes. It's like a giant copier, and it has a light source, like a flashlight, but also lenses. And Zeiss builds these very complex lenses. And in the Zeiss lab, I saw these look like giant canisters, I think a couple of meters high, and they seem to be like cut in half submarines. And that's where they recreate the vacuum to measure the mirrors inside the lithography machine. and these mirrors are so flat, extremely flat, that if you would point out, I think a laser beam on it, and would aim it at the moon, you could actually hit a golf ball with it. So it's extremely flat, to the last atom. And that's the technology that's necessary for these high-NA machines that will produce chips in about, I think they'll end up in your phone in 26 or 27. And for me, you step into this James Bond scene, and there you see what technology is needed to build a chip that will end up in a phone or in an AI chip in about 5 or 6 years. It's like crazy.
Wow, fascinating. Okay, my second question is, ASML is often seen as a national jewel of the Netherlands. Yet there was a time when it was on the brink of failure. What were the factors that helped it turn around its fate?
Well, you're right. ASML had a very rough start about 40 years ago. They were on the brink of collapse practically every couple of years, because there were huge downturns in the chip manufacturing industry, and ASML as a starting company had a rough time. But they were lucky a couple of times, lucky enough to survive, and they combined it with that's why I call the book Focus. They're actually a one-trick pony, so they concentrate all their energy and all their innovative power on one machine, which is the lithography machine, and then they start focusing on the long term. So their investments have been very big throughout the entire history of the company, and even during downturns, ASML kept its R&D up on a level that could not compare to the competitors. So they were investing more, and that kind of helped them innovate into future generations. And I think that focus is also something that was on their customers. So they only have a couple of customers, I think 5 or 6, that are really important, and they found it so important to deliver these machines in time and always get the deadline. So they built machines that weren't even perfect, that weren't working properly. Even the newest generation, it's called High-NA. I think it's the most advanced machine this Earth has ever seen. But it's not working properly, but they do sell it already, and they ship it already. And then together with the customers, they start tweaking the system. And this creates a kind of cooperation, a kind of bond between ASML and its customers. And if you look at the numbers, it's kind of crazy that you buy a machine for such an amount of money and you don't even know if it will work in the end. But ASML has gotten more experienced. So the focus on the customer is also very important. And the funny thing about being focused as a company so much is that you also tend to lose sight of things that happen on the outside of your focus. And as a journalist, it's always fun to see that even a high-tech company like ASML is sometimes dropping the ball on other subjects.
Yes, it's fascinating to read your book and find out that actually it works very closely with its customers.
Yes.
Considering the geopolitical tensions affecting the global tech industry, what are the challenges ASML is facing maintaining its leadership, especially, the US is restricting the export of lithography machines to China?
Yeah. Well, of course, the export controls affect not only ASML as a market leader, but also its the Japanese competitors like Nikon and Canon. So all the lithography makers are affected by these measures. And if you look back at the history of ASML, the company kind of grew just after the Cold War ended, and which was in 1989, so quite a number of years ago, and which made it easier because the rules were far more relaxed. So ASML traditionally wasn't very much impressed by politics. They thought it was fuzz, something that was something you could keep your attention on. Well, let us just focus on the technology and forget about the politics. Yet, well, times have changed, and ASML has to grow up. But for the company, it's kind of well, tough that it's based in a small country like the Netherlands, which is not a geopolitical superpower like the US or China. So it has to, well, defend its own sovereignty against these huge countries. And for ASML, that's well, sometimes kind of hard to understand that a company that's so important for the ecosystem of the rest of the world is depending on a relatively small government. So their aim is to turn this into a European thing, because Europe in itself is a superpower, but the export control things are all determined locally, so by separate countries. But in my book, my thesis is that ASML should be regarded as a European company because it outgrew the Netherlands. In fact, if you look at the history of ASML, the company started with a lot of European funds and even funding, and even, for example, on the development of EUV, there was a European fund involved. So if you look back at history, at this moment in time, you would say ASML is a European company.
Interesting. Apparently, the Dutch government understands how important ASML is. So right now they have this project Beethoven that was aimed at retaining ASML.
Yes.
So how successful do you think they are doing right now?
Well, well, let's start with this name Beethoven. It was like a secret code name, and there actually wasn't any reason to choose for a composer's name for that. But I think it has to do with Veldhoven, the place where ASML has its headquarters. It's really a very small town in a very small country like the Netherlands. And with Eindhoven, a slightly bigger town close to Veldhoven. So Veldhoven, Eindhoven, Beethoven. That's well, it's just something that the Dutch government thought of. They try to invest more in the infrastructure and in the educational systems and in the housing, the more affordable housing in the vicinity of Veldhoven and Eindhoven, because ASML is growing like, well, like crazy, so to speak. It's like doubling its footprint, and it wants to double its footprint preferably in the Netherlands, because that's where the brain of the company is. But as I said, the Netherlands is a very small country. You could compare it to Taiwan when it comes to well, just the size of the country. But expanding here is kind of hard as well. So especially is in the Netherlands. So it needs help from its government, state subsidies for more roads, more technical talent, and well, housing to just to give everybody a place to live who wants to work at ASML, or its supply chain, because ASML is like a system integrator or an architect, but it really depends on its supply chain. Like 80% of this huge lithography machine is built or outsourced to other companies. Zeiss is a very important supplier, but also VDL, a Dutch company, and lots of other companies in the region of Brabant, where ASML is based. So if ASML has to double, all these other companies have to double in size as well. And well, the Netherlands is having a hard time digesting all that growth. So that's why they invented Beethoven to accommodate that.
I see. Well, actually, I think that ASML is also expanding fast in Asia.
Yes.
And the success of semiconductor hubs largely depends on the ecosystem strategy, as shown here in Taiwan as well. So how has ASML been building its ecosystems in South Korea or in Taiwan?
Well, if you look at the total footprint of ASML, I think about just the number of employees, half of them are based in the Netherlands. So the other half is based around the world, especially in Asia and the US, but also Germany is expanding. So all the places where you see new fabs pop up, ASML is also there, because it has to service its machines. These are machines that need like 24/7 attendance. And they refer to them as their babies that need nursing, because if you don't give them enough attention, they'll stop malfunctioning, and then chip production will halt, which is a problem because it's a massive amount of money you have on one wafer, of course. So ASML has to be close to these fabs. And as both Taiwan and Korea are expanding rapidly when it comes to building new fabs, if you look at, for example, the plans that Korea just announced, I think they're investing almost $500 billion worth of investment in their semiconductor industry. That's
500
yeah,
US
I
dollar?
think it's
500
US dollar.
billion.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's huge.
And I think it's until 2049, so they have still quite an amount of time to invest that amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's doubling in size or even tripling, and ASML has to grow accordingly, mm-hmm. which is also the case in Taiwan. For example, for the book, I visited Linkau. Mm-hmm. That's one of the facilities of ASML, and there they clean the lenses, the mirrors that are used for these EUV machines. And it's like a car wash for these very expensive mirrors. Very interesting to see, but also interesting to see how dense the area is. So they have little room to expand. And now they're going to expand in, I think it's New Taipei City, mm-hmm. and it's a huge investment, but ASML really believes that a large part of its future is also here in Taiwan.
So based on your interactions and experiences with ASML, what are the human factors that made it the company it is today? How about the culture there?
Well, I think ASML's culture is very direct, even compared to Dutch standards, because people from the Netherlands are usually regarded direct or sometimes blunt. Mm-hmm. But at ASML, I think that's even at a higher degree, because if you're being too polite, then you tend to lose time, and ASML needs the lowest latency they can get to produce these machines. So in the culture, it's also very common to challenge each other, mm-hmm. And not only your colleagues, but also your leadership. So you're also supposed to actually confront the leadership with its mistakes. That's the only way how you can filter out the flaws in a lithography machine. Because it's such a complex device with hundreds of thousands, 100,000 parts, and to build it so it will work and work 24/7. You have to make sure that all the errors are out. It's about managing the errors. And ASML has created this culture, this very direct culture, that makes it easier for these flaws to pop up and for the best ideas to pop up. And it's like a collective brain. And I think this is something that the company has to keep on doing, in spite of the fact that it's growing so rapidly, because it's easier to create a collective brain, a collective mind if you're a small company, but it's now doubling in size, so that's a challenge.
Yes, I believe companies here have a lot to learn from ASML in managing diverse culture and managing engineers who knows a lot more than their boss.
Okay, well, that's an interesting aspect, because ASML is very much trying to be a more diverse company. And if you look at it culturally, it's like a blend. So it's not a purely a European company. It's not a purely Asian company. It's like a blend, like a Bordeaux. It has like a 40% blend of Asian, European, and also American spirit. Mm-hmm. And mixed together, then you get this ASML, the ASML way.
Great, fantastic. Lastly, our readers are eager to know when will the English version of your book hit the shelves, and how soon can we get the Chinese version?
It should be available globally on Amazon Kindle, so that's the ebook version. And I think Kobo is offering it as well worldwide. That's also the digital version. And there's going to be a paperback versions when there are new licensing deals. Well, I have to wait for these licensing deals, of course.
Thank you, Marc, for this valuable insights today. I believe the audience enjoyed the fascinating stories just as I did. So we look forward to your participation with TechInsights Vice Chair Dan Hutcheson on May 16th for another round of intellectual interactions.
Okay.
Dear audience, to learn more about ASML's innovation in chip technology, don't miss our upcoming episode of GeoWatch airing on May 16th. Until then, stay curious and stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.